If it's Tuesday, that means Team 53 Late Model Summer Shootout Racing from Slingshot Racing League. Welcome, everybody. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the booth tonight by Chris Smith to bring you live racing action in the late model stock cars from Five Flags Speedway for our preseason opener, the Sim Racing Concepts Preseason Clash. Nestled in the low country of Pensacola, Florida, Five Flags is the oldest half-mile track in America and is host every year to one of short track racing's most prestigious events, the Snowball Derby. Since 1968, racers from around the country have made their way south in the winter for the Florida sun and the warmth of race cars. Due to the track layout and highly banked turns, Five Flags is an extremely fast track. With that speed comes high tire degradation, only made worse by its abrasive racing surface. Chris, the track actually got its name from Pensacola's nickname, the City of Five Flags. Over the past several hundred years, the city's actually been under the control of 5 different countries, including Spain, France, Britain, the Confederacy, and the United States. Despite that fun fact, however, only one driver is going to control the race when that checkered flag flies later on this evening. So what's that driver going to have to do to be in that position tonight?
Well, this is a track that does reward aggressive driving. This is home to one of short track racing's crown jewel events, the Snowball Derby, as you mentioned. And this is a place where all weekend warriors and all late model pros have wanted to win for years. There are some trouble spots. There are some trouble areas that we're going to be watching tonight around this half-mile bull ring. The drivers are going to have 3 sets of tires total, 1 on the car to start the race and 2 in the pits, 100 laps, and they should be able to make it on fuel tonight.
Absolutely, and there's going to be a lot of beating and banging. This is the first time Slingshot Racing League has done a series like this on exclusively short tracks and these late model cars. So it's going to be new for us. We'll talk about some of the things that are new to this season 4 of Slingshot Racing League, later on the broadcast. But now we're going to go ahead and get to a pre-race tradition before we cover the rest of the stories we're looking for tonight with the national anthem. So we'll play that and we'll be back right on the other end of that. All right, and we are back in Pensacola, Florida at Five Flags Speedway for the Team 53 Late Model Summer Shootout. Just concluded practice coming to an end. Qualifying is underway right now with just about 4 minutes left. Chris, let's talk just a little bit about the stories to keep an eye on tonight, with the first one being, just what this series is about. This is the first time we've done anything like this on short tracks. Usually we're at the ovals and the NASCAR cars, but we decided to mix it up a little bit this season. We came together with Team 53 owner Justin Laxton, and what we've created is essentially a development series for drivers of all skill levels to basically hone their short track skills. Each week, drivers are going to get a custom setup from Team 53. They're going to get a tutorial video that is going to help them learn how to drive each particular track in each particular setup. So something that we haven't seen done a lot. We think it's pretty cool, pretty neat, and pretty unique. That's going to be awesome. We're actually going to have, hopefully, Justin in the booth for a few minutes next week to talk about that a little bit more. But we've got a great season ahead of us. Each race is going to be 150 laps. And at the end of those 6 races, at the end of the summer, we're going to crown a champion. So we'll be keeping an eye on every single driver over the course of the season. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of drivers probably get better and better. We might see some guys running outside the top 10 tonight that by week 6 at Nashville, they might be running up front. So it's going to provide a lot of storylines to keep an eye on. Speaking of storylines, what stories are we looking at tonight specifically? First things first, Chris, who's going to make a statement? We don't know what to expect from these drivers tonight. We got 16 drivers on the track. Any one of those drivers could come out and potentially win the race tonight. So you have your eye on anyone in particular tonight?
There's a few guys. We've run a lot of these races with Scott Sobczak over the course of our recruitment races, and we know that he's been super, super fast in these cars. We're also watching Rhett Tucker qualify right here, and he's going to be fast in these cars. He's done a lot of racing in them. I'm also looking for some guys that maybe we haven't that we're not as familiar with, who are new to Slingshot. People like Larry Gibson and Kenneth Gallman, who are currently in the top 10 right now. So I'm also looking for some surprises as well.
Awesome. And with that comes bragging rights and $5. That's a new thing we're doing each race this season. The winner is taking home $5. It's not much, but it incentivizes each win just a little bit more. So we also have noticed, we've done a lot of these recruitment races. You and I have raced in several of them. The aggression on these short tracks with these cars, it's really hard to pass unless contact is made. So do you expect to see contact between these drivers on the track tonight?
Oh yeah, this track right here, it rewards those who are aggressive. We didn't put it in our tips for success, but there is a little bit of a trouble spot I've noticed off of turn 4. I've seen a lot of drivers get really, really loose off the exit of 4 during practice. I know that they're pushing really hard in practice, trying to test the limits, but if somebody were to squeeze out of the throttle just a little bit, that might open the door for somebody to possibly get into the back of them on accident. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see some driver aggression tonight, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see tire degradation. These tires, they're going to wear out over the course of the race tonight. The question is how much and who's going to wear theirs out quicker than the competition.
Absolutely. We'll be keeping an eye on all those stories as we move through the evening. Hey, if you're watching right now, we appreciate you as a viewer. I know we've got a Patrick Colby fan in the chat right now, letting us know they're going for Patrick Colby tonight. Let us know who you're rooting for in the chat right now by just type in that driver's name, give us a shout out, say hey in the chat on Twitch or YouTube. Okay, well, qualifying is coming to an end, Chris, and it looks like, I'm looking at my grid to make sure I'm seeing the correct order. No surprise here, Scotty Sobczak is on the pole for the race tonight. So he set our fastest lap in qualifying. He's been up at the front of a lot of our recruitment races, so he's a driver we're certainly going to be keeping an eye on tonight, Chris. We're going to take just a moment, get the grid set up, and we're going to go through where these drivers are going to be starting this 100-lap preseason clash tonight. So we'll let them get gridded. And, on your pole, Scotty Sobczak. On the outside, Patrick Colby, familiar face to Slingshot regulars. Chris Blassie starting third, really good. Actually, I've got a reset here. Rye Jones with a third position qualifying effort. Evan Pienta does all of our graphic work for this league, starting fourth. Johnny Rapp in that Mission Barbecue car yet to join, but he's going to be starting on the inside of the third row. Rhett Tucker, another familiar Slingshot face, going to be starting on the outside of the third row. Larry Gibson, new to Slingshot, in that number 76 car, going to be starting in the 7th position, joined by Matt Kuntz, a Slingshot regular on the outside. Jared Barkley, it's been a minute since we've seen him in a Slingshot race, but he's been practicing. He is back for blood tonight, starting 9th on the inside of the 5th row. Outside to him is Kenneth Gallman, a Slingshot newcomer. Nick DeCesare starting 11th in the 00 Taylor Swift car. James Suggs, a slingshot newcomer, is going to be starting 12th. Tony Caputo, inside of row 7, starting 13th. Lee Campbell, 14th. That 14th position for the 14 car tonight. Chris Blassie going to be starting 15th. And again, 15 car and 15th. Clint Walker, a slingshot newcomer, starting in 16th. And that is going to round out the starting grid tonight. So a bit of a smaller field, but we limited this field size this season because we wanted to make sure that we had some quality racing. And I think smaller numbers are going to provide that for us. It'll clear up the track and provide these drivers a little bit of space. So pace car rolls off. And we should be getting ready to go green here in just about a lap and a half. Chris, any last-minute thoughts before we get going here?
Just that this is going to be action-packed from beginning to end. Just 100 laps tonight. They'll go by super fast here as Scott Zobzak is going to lead the field. Pace Truck's not pulling off this time, even though its lights are off, which is a little bit weird.
Lap. I was thinking the same thing. He threw me off for a minute as well. That pace car driver, a little wily tonight.
Yeah, he guess he decided that he was going to leave the lights off there on that initial lap, but they'll be coming around this time. But you never know what's going to happen in Slingshot, and you really don't know what's going to happen with a series like this that we have never run before. So I'm super excited for it, and I'm ready. I'm ready to see these drivers get after it.
Absolutely, and I think we're going to see these guys getting after it from the very beginning. We know Rhett Tucker can be an aggressive driver. Evan Pienta can be an aggressive driver. And pace truck peels off. Green flag is out. Scotty Sobzak on that inside line is going to lead him across the line down into turn 1. Rye Jones right on the back bumper of Sobzak. Everyone keeps it clean through the first set of corners, it looks like, though. Sobzak in the lead, Rye Jones second, Patrick Colby third, Johnny Rapp in fourth, and Evan Pienta round out your top 5. Evan looking to see if he can make a move on the outside of Johnny Rapp, see if he can hang tight, but that outside line is probably not the place you want to be, at least on corner entry, Chris.
No, it's not, and you can quickly find yourself hung out to dry here. Talk about hung out to dry like on a restrictor plate track. If you lose the bottom and you can't get back down to the bottom and they all line up on you, as we see Johnny Rapp, who has moved up high here. Don't know if Johnny wants to be that high.
Yeah, he got a little bit outside of that groove. He's lost a position to Evan Pienta. Going to leave. Oh, we got a car on the wall. Larry Gibson's going to get tagged from behind. Caution is going to be out on the speedway. That wreck took a second to happen, Chris, but when it happened, it was big. Let's see if we go ahead and try to take a look at this replay to find out what happened to Larry Gibson.
We'll look at Larry here. We'll go back just a little bit, see if we can figure out what happened to the driver.
I think it was actually the 76 and Kenneth Gallman in that 71.
Okay. Let's see if we can go back and see what happened. We'll have to go back here. We'll see if we can see what happened. Oh, yeah, it was up ahead of them. It was actually the 20 of James Suggs. Looks like he made some contact with Larry Gibson. And we'll actually try to...
Yeah, I think Larry Gibson might have pinched him down just a little bit on entry. Yeah. That room just wasn't there. And we can see that 20 car, I believe it's the 20 car, slide back up in front of Kenneth Gallman.
Yeah, he looked like he got out of the gas, and Kenneth Gallman just had nowhere to go. We'll actually ride on board with the driver of the 71 here and show you just how quickly things can transpire around this track.
Yeah, you can see there's nowhere to go. You can see that 20 car was kind of loose, and that 71, unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time for Kenneth Gallman, but they'll probably be able to come in, get a little bit of damage repaired, and probably be able to keep on trucking tonight, it looks like. Certainly hasn't disconnected. You still see him riding around there right now, pacing around under yellow. So
nobody's out of this deal.
Nope, absolutely not. I'm looking to see if we've got anyone coming down pit road right now.
Looks like Nick DeCesare. I think he made a stop earlier, just a minute ago, and by the looks of it, he might have taken right side tires. He had about a 16-second pit stop. Yeah, it's going to be hard to pit. For those of you who are unaware, this is a late model stock series, and so changing tires on the late model stocks takes a little bit longer, and so it's hard to change 4 tires under caution without losing a lap. So I suspect that you're probably going to see a lot of two-tire changes in this series this season.
I think you're right. Drivers are going to have to time it just right and make sure they know exactly how long those pit stops are going to take and how much time they've got to spare. But right now, Scotty Sobczak has no time to spare as the pace truck peels off. Green flag is back out on lap number 9 here at Five Flag Speedway for the Team 53 Late Model Summer Shootout. You see Rye Jones slip up on the outside there on the backstretch. He lets Patrick Colby underneath, a battle for second right now, but they're 2x2 all the way through 5th place right now. Patrick Colby not giving an inch on that inside line to Rye Jones. Rhett Tucker tucked up right behind the back of that number 91 purple car of Rye Jones. Evan Pienta, meanwhile, in 5th, right underneath Rhett Tucker. He's got pressure as well. And Jared Barclay, Chris, having a really good run right now in the 6th position, hanging tough on the outside of Johnny Rapp on that line that we've talked about being really difficult all night to hold. Not necessarily where you want to be for that 10 car right now.
No, but he's looking really good, holding the steady wheel. Jared Barkley's put in a lot of time since he last raced with Slingshot, and I've been really impressed with his growth on iRacing. And as we see the 55 and the 99, hey, there's no love lost between those two.
These two drivers are not strangers right now. Rhett Tucker going to tuck right back behind the 55 of Evan Pienta. He's going to have to deal with Johnny Rapp there on the inside, sliding up. You could stick a sheet of paper between those two cars. Jared Barkley right now back in 7th place. Kenneth Gallman is recovered right now, sitting in the 8th position. Larry Gibson right behind him. So two of those drivers involved in that earlier incident still hanging tight in the top 10. But right now it is tight between the front bumper and back bumper of Rhett Tucker and Evan Pienta as those drivers battle back and forth for the 7th position as you watch on board that rear bumper cam of Evan Pienta. Good shot there, Chris, as well.
Yeah, and Rhett was trying super, super hard to get to the inside. He was trying really hard to maximize his momentum on corner exit, try to clear Johnny Rapp, get back down to the bottom, and he has. And now that he has, he's going to try to peek to the inside of the 55 here, and he is there.
If Rhett Tucker can get the job done on the inside this time, I'm not sure Evan's going to put up much of a fight there on the outside. He's going to carry that momentum, though, in that number 55 car.
Yeah, and Evan Pienta not going to let him get away, though, doing a crossover on Rhett Tucker here.
Oh, we got an incident on the track.
It's like Matt Kuntz. See if we can go back and see what happened to Matt, driver of the number 13. Here he is coming off of Tony Caputo to his outside, going into turn 3 right here. Oh, he's down on the apron, got a little bit loose, and looked like the 14 of Lee Campbell just got into the back of the driver of the 13. We'll see.
Yeah, that's one of those incidents where, once again, there's not much room. There's no place to go. So Lee Campbell might get an EOL for that, depending on what our race director, Sam Maxwell, decides. But that's kind of the nature of short track racing, as we talked about, Chris. Yeah. We had a long discussion about, how we balance aggression and clean, respectful racing. And that's a call where that's going to be a judgment call on Sam Maxwell. And I think he just handed down his verdict or decision on that. I don't see any black flags out, though. So no EOL doesn't look like on that incident for Lee Campbell or anybody else.
Yeah, it might be judged that, Matt Kuntz got a little bit loose, maybe had to check up, and the 14 got in the back of him, and he might have viewed that as a racing incident, without any fault. But we shall see. But you're going to have that in this series this season. There's going to be a lot of incidental contact, but that doesn't make the driver who maybe gets the raw end of the deal feel any better a lot of times. You still wound up backwards on the track, and you still feel a little bit of anger, regardless of if the intent was there or not.
Yeah, and knowing Matt Kuntz, Matt's a good guy. I don't know how angry he's going to get at Lee, but you never know. It's short track racing, so the nighttime of those night lights will change attitudes real fast, especially over the course of just a 100 lap race where patience is probably going to be pretty thin. Anyways, right now we are on lap 21. Going to take you through the field right now as these drivers pace around under caution. Scotty Sobczak is your leader. Rye Jones hanging tough in second place. Patrick Colby, after starting second, is down to third position. Rhett Tucker in that number 99. We've been following the battle between him and Evan Pienta all race long, is up to fourth. Evan Pienta is in fifth. Jared Barclay, we mentioned his good run earlier, running in sixth. Kenneth Gallman, after being involved in an earlier incident, still running in seventh. Larry Gibson, another party in that lap 8, or I guess lap 7 incident, is running 8th. Tony Caputo in that number 42 running in 9th, and Lee Campbell running in 10th. I see him grouping back up, so we're getting close to a restart here, probably about half a lap away. We'll go through the rest of the field here shortly, Chris. Right now, Scotty Sobczak leading wire to wire, though. We'll see if Rye Jones has anything to say about that with about 80 laps left. Scotty Sobczak takes the green flag. Really good jump from the driver of that number 81 car. 81, bit of a different scheme. We're going to have to get used to that from Scotty Sobczak, but Rhett Tucker falls back in 5th place. Single file right now, really through the top 7 or 8. Best battle on the track right now. We see the 20 get into the back of Larry Gibson, into the side rather. The 20 and the 76 are got a nice little battle going on the track right now. Looks like the 20 is going to get the better end of that. James Suggs running in now 9th position. Going to go for another one underneath Tony Caputo. Gets contact. A little bit loose. Hang on to it, Tony. Or that was James.
Yeah, James
Good
Suggs.
save.
Right. Yeah.
Good save by James. Still learning these drivers out here tonight. Lee Campbell going to see if he can snag another position from James Suggs after that little tiny mistake, but James does a good job of keeping it going. But right behind them, looks like Chris Blassie going to try to make a move underneath the driver of that number 14 car.
Yeah, and meanwhile, up here at the in the top 5, we saw Rhett Tucker and Evan Pienta get around Patrick Colby. Also, Jared Barkley gets around Patrick Colby, but Patrick's going to come back to the inside there. We didn't catch the beginning of that, but that might have been a situation where Patrick Colby got hung out on the top and could not get back down to the bottom because we've seen him have pretty good speed all night. So see if the driver of the 9 can get back after it here and try to reclaim some of those spots.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. He got hung up on the outside, and the best he could do was just kind of sit pretty and wait for those cars to get underneath him. Meanwhile, that restacks the running order. Jared Barkley now in 5th, but wait, not quite yet. We do have a battle between Rhett Tucker and Evan Pienta as well going on right now. A really good battle with Rhett Tucker on the inside of that number 55. Evan Pienta Designs late model machine. Evan Pienta on the outside right now. These drivers are side by side. And like we mentioned earlier, these they race hard, and sometimes they come to blows on the track. But right now, looks fairly respectful. Evan Pienta gets really close to the back bumper of that Malwarebytes number 99 machine. But right now he's going to tuck back in, and he is going to settle into the 4th position. Right now it looks like, unless he tries to make a move to the inside and prove me wrong.
Yeah, though, it's been tough racing between these two all night, but it's been really clean and really respectful. You're going to have a little bit of contact in these tight confines, but they're racing really hard. But very respectfully with each other, as our race leader, Scotty Sobczak's got a little bit of company for the lead here.
Yeah, how about that number 91 of Rye Jones? We haven't seen Rye run in one of these late models before. Of course, we haven't done a late model series before, but he's proven that he's got some speed no matter what car he is running in. Won a race last season at Talladega in the Apex Energy Cup Series, and continues to look to continue that string of really high-quality outings tonight while he's running in 2nd place. Closest person we've seen to Scotty Sobczak all night long after 33 laps in the book. Rye Jones, one of those drivers we talk about, known for his passion. Every Slingshot driver who's been a part of Slingshot or race with Rye knows that he cares a lot about what happens on the racetrack. And, passion is something that Rye is known for better or for worse sometimes. But tonight he's doing a really good job of keeping track of Scotty Sobczak in the lead right now. Looking around the track for battles going on, looks like Lee Campbell is working on the back bumper of Matt Coons. These two drivers now back together for the first time since that incident a little bit earlier in the race for 13th and 14th position, but I don't think we're going to see much aggression. I think Matt Kuntz might have gotten back by Lee Campbell. Their battle for 11th really shaping up between Johnny Rapp and Tony Caputo, but as soon as I say that, Johnny Rapp is going to take that position. He's going to set sights on James Suggs in that number 20 car, who's up 3 positions after starting 12. James Suggs in that yellow and white
Johnny got the wall off of turn 4 there.
He's pushing the limits tonight, running that outside line. And when you get up in those marbles, Chris, tell us a little bit about what happens with all that tire debris you can see kind of on the outer part of the track. What does that do to the handling of the car?
Well, you just got to think, the tires on the car are super, super hot. And since they are really hot, generating a lot of temperature, they're very sticky. And they're going to pick up those marbles, that loose rubber that is on the outside that is up out of the racing groove, the traditional racing groove. I would say that Johnny Rapp is currently on the cusp of crossing over there on that line. But Johnny's also on, I wanted to bring this up earlier, he's also on fresher tires than a lot of these drivers here. This season, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with guys who decide to pit at certain times. I don't know if fresh tires are going to be the huge benefits that you possibly see them being in maybe in some other slingshot racing events that we have televised in the past, like NASCAR-style vehicles. They do wear out in this car, but you got to come up through the field. And that's going to be hard on these tight, small bull rings that we're going to be racing on all season. Oh, as the 42's around, Tony Caputo. That's going to draw a caution.
Running 11th place, that Mello yellow car. We'll see, take an instant replay look here and see what happened to him. But looks like it might have just been him getting a little bit loose off of turn 2.
Yeah, let's look and see what happened right here. He's a little bit loose on entry. It's like he got that right rear a little bit hot right there, just right off the get-go, and just came right on around.
But you know what? He kept it out of the wall, it looks like, and he's going to keep on going.
Yeah, really nice job.
Hey, we got a couple questions in the chat right now. First of all, a statement looks like Gran Torino Sport. Thank you for joining the chat. He doesn't think that 91 car is going to stick around all night. He thinks something's going to end up happening to it. I don't know if that's intuition or what. But he also was wondering where the track's located. Like we mentioned in the pre-race, it is located in Pensacola, Florida, and it gets its name because Pensacola is known as the Five Flags City, controlled by 5 different countries over the course of its existence. So there's your geography and history lesson today from 2 history and geography teachers.
That's right. And we got several cars on pit road here.
Yeah, a couple takers on pit road, it looked like. Rhett Tucker, that's kind of a surprising move. We're going to see if he's going to take 2 tires. He might have been in a position where he might have had the time. He looks like he's going for all 4 right now, Chris.
I think that maybe you're right. I think that a lot of these guys, by the looks of it, possibly took 4 tires. I haven't timed out a pit stop here, and I'm sure that these guys have, since they're the ones racing here tonight. But this might be a track right here where you can get away with changing 4 under caution. Just barely, but you can get away with it.
And it looks like several drivers are going to get away with it, and I believe from right around 5th on back is where we saw several of those drivers, 4th and 5th position, start to pit. It looks like. I'm trying to look at my data here.
Yeah, it looks like Johnny Rapp and Chris Blassie, they both stayed out this time, but they did come in earlier on about that lap. What was it, about lap 20 caution that we had? Mm-hmm. I believe they came to pit road then. But yeah, starting with Rhett Tucker, I think he's going to be the first guy off the pit road with fresh tires here. Rye Jones, Evan Pienta, Jared Barkley, James Suggs, Matt Kuntz, Lee Campbell, Clint Walker, and Tony Caputo, they all came to pit road as well. So, it's going to be interesting to see how these guys are able to climb up through the field.
Hey, and if you're just joining us right now, we are on lap number 47 of 100. We're almost at the halfway point for this Sim Racing Concepts preseason clash for the Team 53 Late Model Summer Shootout 6-race series. The preseason race is tonight, and we'll be racing these at short tracks across America for the next 6 weeks. But right now, they are gridded up for a restart coming to lap 48 of 100. Scotty Sobczak is your leader. Colby second, Gallman third, Gibson fourth. These are the 4 cars, Chris, that have not pit tonight. So we'll see how they're feeling here in about half a lap or so. Oh, we're green. Sorry about that. My apologies. I was behind a little bit.
Rye Jones got a little bit of the raw end of the deal on that restart. I think he was just in the wrong lane, and I think he lost a couple spots there, but he's back to the bottom here. He is with the guys who are on the same strategy as him, both the 99 and the 55. So he's going to be trying to see if he can maintain touch with these guys, as these 3, I think, are the 3 to watch coming up through the field, the 99, the 55, and the 91.
Yep, and Johnny Rapp's in there third. He is on newer tires, but not quite as new as Rhett Tucker in the 99, Evan Pinton in the 55, and 71 of Kenneth Gallman. So we'll be keeping an eye on the 91 of Rye Jones. Those are going to be the guys we're keeping an eye on. And when you talk about cars that have fresh tires versus cars that don't, as we see, Rhett Tucker gets into the back of Johnny, and he just came over the radio. I'd imagine he probably apologized. Unintentional contact there between the 99 and the 52. Car in the wall. Heavy Rye Jones in the wall. Several other cars involved in that crash. That's going to take several of these drivers out of the running. So our viewer earlier, who mentioned he didn't think the 91 would live to see the end of the race. Man, eerily correct here. We're going to take a look, see if we can find out what happened to the 91 and several other cars involved in this incident.
Yeah, he's on the inside of Kenneth Gallman here. Down on the apron. Oh, and he kind of slides up a little bit when he hit the apron. And, oh, man, several cars were involved, like you said, Ellis.
I just don't think there was the room for that. And we saw, looks like Jared Barkley's night's going to come to an end, maybe if he can't get it repaired. The 71, who is coming back up through the field, Kenneth Gallman is involved. The 02, the 42, the 20. Man, what car was not involved in that? Pretty much, seventh place on back, Chris?
Yeah, I really want to watch this again, and I just think that Rye maybe hit the apron and came back up a little bit quicker than what Kenneth Gallman expected him to. I don't think that was anything intentional by any means, obviously. We'll see if we can actually look on board with Larry Gibson right here. He's right behind these guys. Yeah, I just think they met. Maybe the 71 was a little bit down the track, a little bit more than what Rye was expecting. And Rye slid up a little bit quicker than Kenneth was expecting, and they just kind of met.
At the end of the day, those two bumpers cross paths, and neither driver is going to survive that crash, at least to have as good of a run as they probably had going right now. So unfortunate for those drivers in the pits right now getting their repairs made. But we're on lap 55 of 100, just 45 laps left, and I'm sure Scotty Sobczak's going to be, thinking his lucky stars that he didn't get the long run there that it looked like we might get. So,
yeah, we had several guys involved in that, like you said, a lot of cars involved.
Yeah, so on the list of cars involved, I believe the 42, the 20 of James Suggs, the 02 of Clint Walker, Jared Barkley, one of the casualties of that crash, Kenneth Gallman, as well as Rye Jones, who those final two cars were the catalysts of the crash.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that so many people got tore up. But hey, that short track racing, sometimes you'll have those track blocking wrecks like that, and a single car incident can quickly turn into a multi-car incident very, very quickly. But the good news for all of these guys is that as our leader, oh no, Scott Sobczak has blinked out.
Oh no!
Yeah, he's blinked out and he has not come back.
And I know our race director is probably going to be on the horn about that. Right now, though, we can't worry about that because we've got a green flag out. Johnny Rapp is scored in second place while Patrick Colby is your leader. And it looks like Patrick Colby chose the outside line. I'm not sure if that was the best choice. About that, maybe.
I think that was because of Scott Sobczak blinking out. He was already on the outside of him, so
So it happened a little bit too late to adjust the lanes. Right now,
Yeah.
Johnny Rapp slides out in front, and he is your leader on lap number 59 of 100 right now. Evan Pienta looking to see if he can get a position off of Patrick Colby, who's stuck out on the outside line in no man's land in that white and red number 9 machine. Meanwhile, Rhett Tucker in the Malware Bites purple and red car is in 4th place. Matt Kuntz, Chris, having really came up through the field there. I think picked up several positions from that wreck we just saw a few laps ago. He's having a top 5 run right now.
Oh, as we see Patrick Colby and Evan Pienta get really close on the exit of turn 4.
Yeah, this is a great battle we're watching here.
Yeah, this is some really good stuff. These guys are racing really hard, but very respectfully. And I was bringing up earlier, you know, if you're Jared Barkley, James Suggs, Ryan Jones, Kenneth Gallman, and now Scotty Sobczak, looks like the 9's around.
Yeah. The 9 got into Rhett Tucker. Looks like Matt Kuntz is going to get a piece of that. Caution's going to come out right now. I'm seeing a white flag. Is there a reason I'm seeing a white flag?
See if we can see what happened right here. And it looks like, oh yeah, as the 9. The 9 was just pushing up a little bit right there in the center of 1 and 2, and they got together. Go back and try to watch this again here. Yep, just a little bit of a push there, and Matt Kuntz nowhere to go. He tried really hard to miss him. I don't know how significant the damage is to.
Yeah, these cars can take a bit of a beating. So Kuntz in that number 13 might be able to carry on okay right now in the 4th position. He keeps that car straight, but yeah, once again, these cars can come loose in a moment's notice. We've seen that happen a couple times, and you mentioned a couple problem spots on this track that can kind of force that. So
yeah, and you know, the good news tonight for all these guys who are running into trouble is that this is a non-points event. This is an exhibition. Just a way to sort of loosen up a little bit before the regular season begins next week, which will be back here at Five Flag Speedway. I mentioned it before. We've got 6 really, really great tracks this season, but this is a crown jewel track of short track racing. This is a really, really big one, a really important one. So, excited to see how these guys maybe adjust for next week when we'll probably have an even bigger field there.
Absolutely. It'll be at least 20 cars, and there's going to be a little bit more money on the line since that is one of Slingshot Racing's crown jewel events. Hey, speaking of money on the line, Patrick Colby given an EOL, so he's going to have a hard time winning that $5 back from about the 13th place position or so with just about 35 laps left, Chris. He's going to have some work to do if he's going to get back up to that position he was running in before that last incident. Right now, these drivers single file working their way around. Johnny Rapp is scored as your leader. Evan Pienta in 3rd. Evan Pienta in 2nd. Rhett Tucker in 3rd. Matt Kuntz still in 4th. We'll see how that damage impacts that car once we get going green. Lee Campbell, Chris, having a good run in 5th after being involved in an incident earlier in the race. So several drivers who kind of rode to the back for a little bit have picked their way up through the field due to a little bit of attrition as this race has gone on.
Yeah, and one driver that's back on track now is the driver of the number 81. He's getting one of his laps back here, it looks like. And, he's back on track. Hopefully, he can get those connection issues squared away before next week when the points are on the line.
Yeah, absolutely. No points on the line tonight, but $5 is on the line. And it looks like Johnny Rapp, Chris, chose the outside line once again. This time intentionally. It looks like he's going to take the green flag in front of Matt Kuntz and Rhett Tucker and Evan Pienta. Get great jump on the field. That 52 Mission barbecue car is scored as your leader. Gets a great jump on Evan Pienta as well as Matt Kuntz, who the damage does not seem to be affecting much. Rhett Tucker on the inside of Chris Blassie in that number 15 car. Meanwhile, Lee Campbell in 6th. Nick DeCesare got a little bit battle going on between DeCesare and several other cars back there, including Caputo and Gibson.
Yeah, this is a dogfight back here, and Lee Campbell's out in front of them. Lee Campbell's got a lot of damage on the front end, but I have to imagine it's probably hurting the performance of that number 14, but it's not hurting it too bad. With these short track speeds, you don't need all the aero that you need at the bigger tracks.
Oh, right now, James Suggs also losing a spot. Good little battle going on there for a second between Suggs and the 42 car, but that looks like it's going to settle down for the time being. You can definitely see that damage, though, on several of these cars running around the track. A little bit battered tonight, but that tends to be the nature of short track racing. And we're going to see a lot of that over the course of this 6-race season with the Team 53 Late Model Summer Shootout. Right now, Johnny Rapp doesn't look like there's much of a scratch on that car other than maybe on the right side as he runs in the lead. About 0.3 of a second up on Evan Pienta. We see him get a little bit loose off the corner there. Rhett Tucker a little bit of a distance back, about 1.25 seconds back in third place. Matt Coons looks like he might be applying a little bit of pressure, though, to Rhett Tucker in that third position.
Yeah, Rhett Tucker's the one I'm watching. He actually just completed the pass on Kuntz. And yeah, that time by, he is the fastest car on track. And so that car looks like it's really turning well on the bottom. He and Evan Pienta are on pretty equal tires. They have about 25 lap fresher tires than Johnny Rapp. I don't know how big the advantage is going to be now because we've run several laps under caution here on this stint. So, But I'm going to try to keep my eye right here. Evan Pienta is actually really fast as well. He is closing in quickly on the back bumper of Johnny Rapp.
So right now, as a reminder to viewers, Johnny Rapp does have new-ish tires, but they're not quite as new as what's on the 55 and the 99. So those two cars are the cars we're going to be watching to see. Right now, Johnny Rapp really runs a high line off that corner. Evan Pienta going to gain a little bit on exit as he looks to gain even more headed into turn number 2.
Yeah, and if you're Evan Pienta, what you want is, I really like to have that headlight. You see how he's just about a headlight lower than Johnny Rapp. He's got that in the wind. He can really see his marks well when you're down there. That shows that he has really good grip right in the center of the corner, and he's able to get back in the gas comfortably, turn down to the bottom, roll the center, and he's looking to the inside of Johnny Rapp.
Johnny Rapp is not going to be aggressive with that move. He is going to leave that door open for Evan Pienta. Not going to really challenge, at least in terms of closing that door, but he is going to look like he's going to tuck in right behind. Maybe he's going to get a bit of a run off the corner, but doesn't look like he's going to drop right into second place. So Evan Pienta takes over the front position from Johnny Rapp. Let's see if Johnny was going to make a move there for a second. I thought he might. It's going to send Rapp back to second place. Rhett Tucker still sitting in third with those fresh tires as they approach the lap car of Lee Campbell. This is going to be something these drivers have to navigate all season long. Lee Campbell almost gets into the side of Evan Pienta. Johnny Rapp almost collected Evan Pienta there, but that does a huge favor for Rhett Tucker and brings that 99 car right back up to the back bumper of Johnny Rapp. This is a 3-car race for the win here, Chris, with about 18 laps left in the Sim Racing Concepts preseason clash for the Slingshot Racing League. Man, this is getting exciting, and I'd imagine it's only going to get more exciting because I don't see one of these cars having a bigger advantage over the others right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at anything, Johnny Rapp does have older tires, but like we said, we've brought it up several times. They've run a lot of laps under caution here since Johnny made that pit stop, so don't know how much that's really going to play into this right here. Johnny's missing the bottom just a little bit. He's taking a little bit of a wider line right here, and Rhett Tucker's turning really well on the bottom, and he's to the inside of Rapp now.
Oh, great battle for the lead, but Evan Pienta looked like he might have gotten into the wall there right in front of those two drivers. I would imagine Rhett Tucker is probably going to take this position fairly easily with the tire advantage he has, but Johnny Rapp is holding tough on the outside. He's not going to want to give that position up with just about 15 laps to go.
Got a little too high right there in 3 and 4, and that's going to let Rhett Tucker complete the pass. Now, Rhett's got 14 laps. He's got 14 laps to chase down Evan Pienta and then complete the pass somehow, some way. So,
these drivers, I don't think Pienta is going to roll over for the driver, that number 99, Chris.
No, and we'll
get intuition, but
yeah, we'll pull up the lap speeds here just to see what we can see as far as, how they're looking. And we can see about any types of, trends as far as who's quicker. Last 2 laps, Evan Pienta has been slightly faster than Rhett Tucker. So, yeah, Rhett's going to have to not only gain, obviously, turn in faster lap times, but he's going to have to turn in much faster lap times, I think, with the amount of time that we got left in order to chase him down. It's hard. It's hard to make up ground fast because these are only 17-second lap times here. So the advantages between one to the other are not there. And so it's hard to make up ground here with just 10 laps to go.
And as you mentioned, just 10 laps to go. Right now, Rhett Tucker doing everything he can. He's about half a second behind Evan Pienta. Maybe he's gained just a little bit. We're keeping an eye on that lead. But right now on that lap, it extends by about a tenth. So as we mentioned, Evan running just a little bit faster right now than Rhett Tucker. Got a lot of work to do for Tucker. If you're going to come up those 10 laps, you're going to come up with about over half a second right now. We'll run through the rest of the field, though, as we kind of keep our eye on that battle for the lead. Johnny Rapp hanging tough in third. And Chris, Matt Kuntz really running the race. Started 8th. He's got a top 4 run going right now. He's been running with Slingshot for several seasons. He's kind of a mainstay. Really glad to see that number 13 car have the run he's got going right now. Chris Blassie, another guy we've seen run with us before, having a great top 5 run as well in that orange and white 15 that he's become known for. Nick DeCesare in that 00 having a good 6th place run. Tony Caputo, newcomer to Slingshot Racing, running in 7th position. Larry Gibson, you saw him involved in that crash earlier. He is an
And I believe we have lost Ellis. I can't hear him anymore, but Larry Gibson running in the 8th spot. We got Lee Campbell in 9th. James Suggs rounding out the top 10. These guys have been involved in a few incidents tonight, but they are still soldiering along and still out here on the track. That rounds out the top 10. Kenneth Gallman in 11th spot. He is still out here, the last car running on track. And we'll go back up to the lead here with 5 laps to go. Evan Pienta. Evan Pienta still has about a 0.4 of a second lead. There was one lap where Rhett Tucker gained a lot as Rhett gets really loose off turn 4. He's trying really hard now. This is at the point of the run right here, obviously, point of the race where you let it all hang out. And he's trying super, super hard to make up ground, but he's got to make up a lot in just a few laps here.
You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
All right, sorry about that. Some technical difficulties. Weather is a little bit questionable tonight in Atlanta, but we are back. Thanks for filling in for me.
Yep, no problem.
All right, so Rhett Tucker has gained a little bit on Evan, as you're talking about right now, but he's you can tell how hard he's driving that car right now off those corners, Chris.
Yeah, and there was a couple laps there as we were going through the field where Rhett gained a lot, but then Evans looked like he collected himself. I don't know if he might have made a mistake, and he is pulling away slowly but surely as he gets the white flag here.
Just 1 lap to go for Evan Pienta. Great run going for him tonight. Rhett Tucker's not going to have enough mustard to get to the front. He's going to try to ride the wall. He knows it's not going to work, but hey, you never know. Ross Chastain move. Not going to work here, though. Evan Pienta is going to win the Sim Racing Concepts preseason clash for the late model series from Slingshot Racing League. Rhett Tucker going to finish 2nd. Johnny Rapp going to finish with a top 3. Matt Kuntz 4th. Nick DeCesare rounds out your top 5 as the fireworks go on right now in the background of the track. We had some fireworks on the track tonight as well, Chris. So,
he's going to hit the wall.
As we watch Evan Pienta complete his burnout celebration, taking the preseason clash. Am I right? I think Evan won the season opener Daytona in the trucks last season. So Evan's got a knack for one of these opening races of the season. We'll see what he's able to do next week in the regular season opener. But right now, we're going to see if we can get him and Rhett Tucker and Johnny Rapp into the interview booth, see if we can grab a word with each one of these drivers.
And as you mentioned before, this is Evan Pienta of Evan Pienta Designs, a Slingshot partner and a driver who has gone to Slingshot Victory Lane before, but This is obviously a little bit different than the typical NASCAR victory, as he brought it home in this late model stock here from Team 53 Summer Shootout Series.
All right, so we're going to grab a word with Johnny Rapp first. Try to pull him into the broadcast booth. Give me a second. All right, Johnny Rapp, you got a copy. This is Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot broadcast booth.
Yes, sir. What's happening?
Hey, man, congratulations. Top 3 finish. Looking like you're in position to maybe win there for just a little bit, but looks like you didn't have the tires to finish the job based on the rubber that those 2 drivers that finished in front of you had.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know if it was the tires or I think they were both just faster than me in general. But because it might have been the fastest lap of the race on like 50 lap old tires. So I don't know. I don't think the tire wear was really there as much as we thought it was. But
well, talk to us a little bit. You mentioned the tire wear. Talk to us a little bit about these cars versus what we're used to running with the NASCAR stock cars. What's kind of the difference in driving these things?
Yeah, these things are. I mean, it felt a little weird. I've done a league in these before, and it's kind of just like you send it, like we're not really braking here. I was braking a little bit at the end just to try it out, but it didn't really do nothing.
Well,
you're just cracking the throttle and mashing the gas on exit.
It looked like there was a lot of that going on the track tonight. We had several incidents. You stayed out of most of those, so congratulations. Hey, any sponsor shout-outs or shout-outs to family members or friends you want to give before we let you go celebrate?
Well, I have no official sponsors, but shout out to Mission Barbecue for just being like a cool barbecue place that does cool stuff for the community and whatnot. I know you said that you went by one, and maybe next time go in and try it out.
I did. Place. We're gonna get you sponsored one of these days. I've actually had Mission Barbecue before, just not at that location. So I agree with you on being pretty good quality food. Yeah, good quality run for you tonight, my friend.
Hey, I'm not complaining. And the rest of the shout outs, the Payday guys. Evan's kind of running Payday with us here, and Ryan, I don't know the extent to what happened there, but sounds interesting. Should be a fun couple days here. But and all the other guys, none of them are really running, but shout out to them and family watching and all that. You guys putting the show on and running the league. I didn't forget it this time.
Hey, we appreciate it.
And just everybody for putting on a good race. I mean, had a couple cautions there, but that was a pretty good race through.
Yeah, congratulations. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
Right on.
All right, so that was Johnny Rapp. We're going to bring our 3rd place finisher in Rhett Tucker, but I'm not seeing Rhett Tucker in the chat right now. I want to make sure, double check he's not in here. We might not be able to grab a word with him tonight, but we will be able to grab a word with our winner, Evan Pienta. So we'll go ahead and drag Evan into the booth. It's just a second here. All right, Evan Pienta, it's Ellis and Chris in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Hey, congratulations on the win. For me, I'm going to let Chris take over, though.
Man, Evan Pienta, what a drive tonight. We saw you and Rhett Tucker racing really, really close all night, but very respectful, really, really hard racing. Talk to us a little about what the feel of the race was like tonight. Was it as intense as it seemed from the broadcast perspective?
I mean, I thought it was. I don't really drive these cars quite often, from being honest, and I didn't really know what to expect. And then going into practice, I'm glad I watched the tutorial video that Justin provided us, because I would probably use the brake going into the corners, realizing you just had to lift and keep up that momentum. But just doing that, I mean, at the start it was kind of just trying to find who was good and who was like. I mean, it's a bunch of new guys that we're racing against, and a bunch of old guys that I've raced with before, and it was just kind of seeing the first little bit getting settled in. But like once you kind of get all single file. Like I realized in the start that the outside line was not the place to be. It was super loose up there, at least when I was up there for the little bit. And then once I was able to settle in, and kind of my strategy was to kind of just, I really do it off of 3 or off of 4, more than off of 2. Just cut down on the front stretch and then get to the inside of somebody into 1. I feel like I was a lot stronger into 1, no matter where I put the car, no matter where I positioned going into the corner, even if it was a little bit shallow. I felt like I could get around that 1 and 2 a lot better. I had trouble with 3 and 4, and I know a lot of people did all day. Just because you can't see the apron and you bounce off of it and you either get loose or you bounce up high, and got in the wall a couple times in those final laps just trying to get as close to the bottom as I could. But no, I think these cars, they can be on edge depending on what setup Justin brings. But I mean, I think overall it's exciting. Like you said, I know you mentioned Rhett racing against him. I know we've had our issues in the past, but it was good to kind of get door-to-door racing and not have something happen there throughout the race. So hopefully, not just between us, but hopefully between other drivers, we see that close racing and clean racing throughout the field and throughout the season.
Yeah, that was great racing between you two. That was very respectful, good hard racing, but very very clean. What was tire wear like tonight? Did you experience any issues with that?
So the one pit stop I made for tires, I think it was I ran about 40 laps. Some of it was under caution. I can tell you, my right front was 883, my right rear was 884, and my left sides were in the 90s. But I mean, it didn't really feel like after about, I don't know, seemed like 10-15 laps, it kind of really like flatlined, where it was I could, as long as I ran the right line, it was consistent in terms of the same. I could push it the same amount I did on lap 16 of a run versus lap 35 of a run or lap 40 of a run. So I think they were very, very handy, especially on those restarts when I took them right away. Having the guys who are on older tires in front and able to start on the inside was also a plus. To just kind of, those new tires were better than the older tires by enough to where you could cut down on guys off the corner and hold that, and then was able to stick your nose in and get passes on the inside like that. And then once you could get by enough of those guys, by the time they kind of wore out, you out front, or you could kind of be even out with somebody, and then it was just a matter of could you catch them on raw speed. So I think, I don't know if it depended on the track and if we'll see different depending on what track we go to, but I think these tires, it's going to be kind of play strategy where if you want to take them, when you take them, because if you take them early, you could be hoping to get by all those guys and stay out front, and then hope for a lot of cautions to where you get guys who are normally faster, who could be possibly faster than you, get mired back in traffic trying to pit later. So I think the tires overall is just going to be, if you can strategize and calculate that 10 to 15 lap window when you can get that advantage.
Yeah, you had that. You had those new tires working really, really well on the entry to 1, as you said, making that entry and doing those passes like that. Hey, before we let you go, any shout outs that you want to give before we let you go celebrate with your team?
Of course, you guys, for not only putting the broadcast on, but putting the league on. You guys do a lot of hard work behind the scenes, and excited to see how this season goes with this and the 87s tomorrow night or on Wednesday nights. Justin for providing setups and tutorial videos for us throughout the season. Sam for the race control. My teammates at Payday, new team, joining Payday this year. So excited to work with them, Johnny and Ryan, and all those guys. New teammate Tony as well. Excited to get him in here. Evan Pienta Designs, go check them out. Or check me out. I'm Pienta Designs.
Check me out.
Get your paint scheme done. And then UD Awards, Apex Energy, Sim Racing Tech, Sim Racing Concepts, new sponsor on board with SSRL this year. So, and Pierce Graphics as well for putting the sick graphics up for the broadcast you saw tonight.
Man, you know them all. I'm impressed. You know them better than we do.
Yeah, that's impressive.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, that's Evan Pienta, your winner from tonight, the Sim Racing Concepts Preseason Clash. Congratulations, Evan.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good night. All right. So, Chris, I don't know if we could have done any better tonight. We had a handful of cautions, not too many. As to be expected with some short track racing in these late models, drivers getting a little bit used to each other, some mini racing with each other for the first time this season. I think we saw a lot of passing, a lot of good runs tonight. Saw a lot of contact, saw some tempers fly between a few drivers, but hey, a lot of drivers came out tonight with some really good finishes that we aren't used to seeing running so close to the front. Evan Pienta with the win, Rhett Tucker in second. In third place, we had Johnny Rapp. We're getting some.
There we go.
Okay. Sorry about that. Johnny Rapp in third. Matt Kuntz, really good run in fourth position. Nick DeCesare, his teammate, top 5 for that team. So good job to those guys.
Very nice motorsports.
Yeah, very nice motorsports with some very nice finishes tonight.
Yeah.
Chris Blassie in sixth. Tony Caputo, a new payday racing driver, running in seventh. Larry Gibson, strong run in eighth. Lee Campbell, top 10 in ninth. And James Suggs, even though he was involved in an earlier incident, he finished in the 10th position. Kenneth Gallman in that number 71, also involved in another incident earlier in the evening, hung on to finish in the 11th. Scotty Sobczak with some connection issues led much of the night, but he's going to have to settle for a 12th place finish. He'll be back for blood next week, guaranteed, and is as fast as ever. Patrick Colby, earlier issues in the race took him out of the running. Finishes in 13th. Clint Walker in the 0-2, a driver new to Slingshot, brings it home in the 14th position. Jared Barkley finishes in the 15th after having a really good run going much of the evening, but caught up in that big track blocking wreck about at the midway point of this race, Chris. And Rye Jones is going to be scored in the 16th position after getting involved in an incident with another car earlier in the race that took him out of the running earlier this evening. So we've got a lot of great things to come, Chris. 6 races, 6 weeks of 150 lap shootout style late model races at short tracks across America. I'm excited for it. We're lucky to have Team 53, as we and Evan mentioned throughout the night. Justin Laxton with that team. And I just want to mention briefly for our viewers still watching what Team 53 is. It's a kind of a driver development group. We talk about setup shops all the time on iRacing, where you can buy a setup and you can go and run it in a race and hopefully be competitive. Team 53 is kind of a different model. They're more of a club where you join, you pay monthly dues, and you get driver tutorials, you get one-on-one, hands-on practice and support from Justin at Team 53, who does drive a real late model race car. And it's really more about developing the driver than just selling a setup. So shout out to Justin. We'll hopefully have him in the booth for a few minutes next week to talk about that. And it's going to be a great season. Any final thoughts before we drop the curtain on race number 1, this preseason clash from Sim Racing Concepts?
Just that these guys delivered tonight, and I can't wait to add more to the mayhem, if you will, next week. If you thought that it was chaotic with 16 drivers out here tonight, just imagine adding a few more. There's a few guys that will be showing up next week that weren't here tonight, and I think that you'll see a great show next week as well, and all season here in the Team 53 Late Model Summer Shootout Series.
Awesome. Well, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. We'll look forward to seeing everyone back. Actually, not next week, but tomorrow night. We've got the Apex Energy 87 Throwback Series. That's right. We're taking the old 87 NASCAR models to Daytona for our season opening clash, also presented by Sim Racing Concepts. Great way for drivers to shake it down at Daytona. And that's going to be a really exciting race to watch as well. Same start time, 8:30 Eastern Time. Same channel. We'll hope to see you there. And everyone, have a great night. Thank you from Slingshot Racing League.